Alright, this one makes absolutely no sense, and I mean that, because in 1981, Christopher Cross didn't just win big, he wiped out the entire Grammys. Album of the Year, Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Best New Artist, all in one night. That's not a win, that's an industry basically saying that you are the man. And just like that, a few years later, he's gone. Nowhere to be seen, he's not dead, he's not disgraced, he's just gone. So what the F happened to Christopher Cross? Late 70s, rolling into the early 80s, music is shifting. Rock is getting smoother. Production is getting cleaner. Radio wants something easy to play, easy to repeat, easy to live with. And then Christopher Cross shows up with this sound that feels almost too perfect.
Sailing takes me away to where I'm going. If you get caught between the moon and New York City, we'll never be the same without you here. I'll live alone.
Ride Like the Wind, Sailing. These songs don't punch you in the face. They just slide in. Clean, polished, effortless, and radio eats it up because it fits exactly what the moment wants. Then 1981 hits, and this is where it gets ridiculous because Christopher Cross doesn't just win, he dominates. 4 of the biggest awards that you can win, all in one night. That had never really been done before like that. And in that moment, he's not just successful, he's crowned. He's the sound of the industry, the safe bet, the future. And here's where things start to get a little messy, because when Christopher Cross swept the Grammys, not everybody was celebrating. Yeah, on camera, there was clapping, smiles, standing ovations, but behind the scenes, there was a different energy. There were whispers going around in the industry that night that some major artists weren't exactly thrilled with how that all played out. And over the years, those whispers turned into stories. People like Barbra Streisand and David Gilmour were amongst some of the people that night who didn't love seeing Christopher Cross walk away with everything. Now, whether that was outright anger, quiet frustration, or just industry ego talking, that part has never fully been nailed down. But the fact those names even got attached to the story, that tells you how unexpected that win really was. Because in that room, there were bigger images, bigger personalities, artists who looked like the future, and instead the Grammys handed everything over to someone who didn't fit that mold. And that kind of moment, it sticks. And right when he's sitting at the top, the entire industry shifts. MTV launches, and suddenly music isn't just about sound anymore. Now it's visual. Now it's image. Now it's, do you look like a star? And Christopher Cross didn't play that game. This is the brutal part, because it shouldn't matter, but it did. Christopher Cross wasn't flashy. He wasn't built for video. He wasn't trying to be some larger-than-life personality. He was about the music, and just like that, that wasn't enough anymore. Think about how fast that switch flipped. 1 year, you're the future. Next year, you don't fit that format. That's a cold shift. At the same time, his sound starts falling out of favor. That smooth, polished yacht rock style, songs like Arthur's Theme and Sailing are just not cool anymore. People start moving away from it. They want edge. They want attitude. They want something louder, sharper, more visual. And suddenly, what used to sound modern starts sounding dated. Not bad, just out of time. And this is what makes his story different. Christopher Cross didn't crash. There was no meltdown, no scandal, no big public downfall. He just slowly disappeared from the spotlight. Still making music, still working, but the attention, gone. And that kind of fade is almost worse because it's quiet. And the industry, it does what it always does. It moves on, finds the next face, the next sound, the next thing that fits the moment. And the guy who just swept the Grammys, he gets left behind like he belonged to a different era, even though it's only been a couple years. Here's the part that people don't like to admit. Christopher Cross didn't fail. He didn't suddenly lose talent. He didn't forget how to write songs. The world just changed around him, and it changed fast. And when that happens, you either adapt instantly or you get left behind. So yeah, Christopher Cross, he went from sweeping the biggest awards in music to barely being part of the conversation. There were no scandals, no collapse, just bad timing, and an industry that flipped the rules overnight. Honestly, that might be the craziest part of the whole story, because it means even if you do everything right, it still might not matter. And here's the part that most people don't realize. Christopher Cross never actually disappeared. He kept making music, kept touring, built a loyal fan base that stuck with him long after the spotlight moved on. He even came back into the conversation years later when a new generation rediscovered his sound, especially when yacht rock made a comeback and people started appreciating what he did all over again. So yeah, he didn't stay on top, but he didn't vanish either. He just kept going without the machine behind him. And honestly, that might be the most real part of the whole story. All right, so that's going to do it for the story. And if you have any questions or anything else to add, just go ahead and put it down in the comment section below. I want to thank you all so much for watching today, and I'll see you on the next one.